If you want to learn how to utilize and counter parry traps, be sure to stay tuned. A parry trap can happen when you use a move that is -1 to -3 frames, followed by a tap parry in order to fish out the perfect parry and get your turn back. I'm a longtime gamer that is new and obsessed with the Street Fighter 6 scene, so I figured I'd make some videos about the different interesting techniques and mechanics in SF6. I am new to fighting games though, and only human, so if there are any mistakes or extra context I may have not included, be sure to let me know in the comments below so we can all improve. This video is going to show all of the moves for every character that can parry trap. I'll talk about how intuitive each eligible move is, as well as if I think it is worthwhile to use. This is just based on my personal experience, so your usability may vary. Feel free to explore and experiment with this technique however you want. I know this is a long one, so feel free to jump around to your specific character, or any of the other sections via the timestamps below if you want to know who this technique works best for, or counterplay if you keep getting blown up by parry traps. Doing a parry trap is quite similar to something like a frame trap or a space trap, but instead of pressing your own offensive button after a slightly minus move, you tap parry to take your turn back. This works best at the basic level when you know your opponent will mash their 4-frame move after one of your eligible attacks. To consistently get your parry traps, be sure to practice with your specific character's moves and see which ones come most naturally to you. I used to think that moves that were -1 or -3 were easiest for me to get the parry trap, but it really varied depending on the character and animation of each move. I'd say play with the eligible moves for your character and decide for yourself which moves will work best for your playstyle. As a Jamie main, I find his standing heavy punch to be the easiest one for me to utilize for parry traps, but that's just because it's the one I've practiced with the most. Big ups to Caution, Hatson, and the Jamie Discord for showing me this perfect parry trap technique and being super helpful with any of my questions while making this video. Also want to thank Danon for helping me get into Street Fighter in general. It's been an awesome journey, and I'm super thankful for it. The characters that benefit most from parry traps, in my opinion, are the ones that have a buffing mechanic, like Jamie or Manon, or some kind of setup, like Aki's Poison or Bison's Psycho Mine. Since those interactions aren't meant to be their highest damaging ones, they aren't as negatively affected by the perfect parry scaling. That being said, any character benefits from getting their turn back, so I think the parry trap has a place in everyone's toolkit. Every technique has its benefits and its drawbacks though, and if you're going against someone that likes to parry trap, you can easily adapt to it by using delayed buttons or using throw in situations where you see them parry immediately after their pressure. Season 2 extended the throw hurt box after tap parry, so you can really punish people that are abusing this mechanic. Each character's 4-frame has a different amount of recovery frames, so what you're able to punish with will vary. You can check out fullmeter.com for each character's specific punish data on a perfect parry. Generally though, if you don't want to optimize for each character, you should be able to use one of your 6-frame attacks to start your punish at the minimum. Now I'll be going into each character's parry trap eligible attacks, how viable I think they are, and at the end of each character section I made a little cheat sheet that you can screenshot or pause at to see each of that character's moves and how well they worked for me in my testing. I didn't practice any of these parry traps prior to the filming, except for Jamie's, so you can see how intuitive they were for me in the video. Most of Aki's eligible normals felt intuitive, with my favorites being her standing light kick, standing medium punch, and standing heavy kick. As far as her specials go, I think Cruel Fate wasn't so intuitive to me, but with practice it should be reliable, and the Slither Kicks feels like it would be a good addition to your pressure. The only moves that don't really work for her Parry Traps that are on this cheat sheet is her crouching medium punch and crouching heavy kick, which would work better as space traps because of the pushback. She is also interesting in that she doesn't have any Parry Trap eligible moves with a drive rush. All of Akuma's normals felt really good to me, except crouching light kick and the overhead target combo. As for his specials, they felt a bit awkward, but that's mostly due to lack of practice, I think. Akuma is also one of the many that has drive rush crouch medium kick as an eligible move, though I'm not sure how often people will try to take their turn back immediately after blocking a drive rush move, so it seems a bit more niche to me. Other than his standing heavy kick, which has too much pushback, and his standing heavy punch, which was just awkward for me to get, Blanka's normals felt pretty natural. His electric thunder was intuitive too, but all of his drive rush eligible moves, except for crouching medium punch, did not feel natural to parry trap with, so be aware of that. Cammy felt a bit finicky for me, perhaps due to a lot of negative 2 moves, but I can't say for sure. My favorite normals were her standing light punch, standing heavy punch, and standing heavy kick. Medium and overdrive spin knuckle worked fine, and her command jump overhead felt better than I expected. You can parry trap with dive kick as well, but I don't think it's as viable as the other methods. Her drive rush crouching medium kick felt quite good, and once I understood the spacing of drive rush back heavy kick, it worked nicely, though I think that move might be better for baiting out drive rush checks rather than parry traps. Despite also having a bunch of negative 2 moves, all of her normals felt pretty good. Just crouching heavy punch and back heavy punch were a bit awkward for me timing-wise. Of her specials, medium and heavy Hazanshu were okay, but I had a bit more consistency with her heavy and overdrive kicks. Of her drive rush moves, crouching medium kick worked nicely, and while crouching heavy kick can also work, I think that one is better as a space trap. Most of DJ's normals felt fine for me, with my most consistent being standing light punch, standing medium kick, and crouching heavy punch. For his specials, his normal sway low, heavy slasher, and OD Sobot felt quite good to me. All of his drive rush eligible moves also worked really well. They're the most natural feeling drive rush normals yet. Other than Dhalsim's back medium punch, which is better as a space trap, and his down back heavy punch, which felt a bit awkward to time animation-wise, his few usable normals worked quite well. There isn't any difference in the pushback for Dhalsim's different specials, but I had a hard time timing most of them except his Yoga Blast and normal Yoga Arch. Also not sure how valuable they'd be since they are all projectile moves anyway. Dhalsim does have a ton of drive rush moves that are Parry Trap eligible, with standing medium punch being the most consistent one for me, and only standing heavy kick feeling a bit awkward. I really liked Ed's normals for utilizing Parry Traps, except for crouching medium kick, which was just very hard for me to time right, and standing heavy punch, which will work better as a space trap in most cases. His eligible specials worked well, though spending 2 bars to then go into a Parry Trap might not be the most useful thing. Ed only has 2 drive rush normals that are minus, but they felt pretty consistent too. Other than Honda's standing medium kick, down forward heavy kick, and down down punch, his normals worked pretty well for parry trapping. I think my favorites were his crouching medium kick and crouching heavy punch. All his eligible specials worked fine, but OD slaps was hard for me to time. His only dry rush normal, forward heavy kick, felt good to me. I feel like headbutt overall would probably be his most powerful parry trap move. All of Guile's normals felt consistent for me, and while his specials did work for me, I'm not sure how usable they'd be. For his drive rush moves, standing heavy punch was the most consistent, and I think his back or forwards medium kick could work, but it might be better as a space trap. Guile is also the only character with super moves that are eligible to use as parry traps, though I'd not really worry so much about that, as I hope you are not using your super on block. But if it happens in the moment, you'll know that you can at least give it a shot. I'm probably biased, but I feel like a lot of Jamie's normals work well as parry traps, and with Season 2, Crouching Medium Punch is another one to add onto his long list. The only normal I'd say is not that worth playing with would be Standing Medium Kick, as it's better as a space trap in my opinion, but it can still work if you need it. Things like Forward Heavy Kick and Back Heavy Punch aren't affected frame data wise due to the drink, so they will be timed just the same. For his specials, I think OD Rekka is better as a space trap, but his 4-drink Rekka, except for the OD version, works nicely for parry trapping. Heavy Palm and OD Palm are good parry trap options, and just like Cammy, the dive kick can work, but I don't think it's super reliable. You can do high dive kick in the corner though and still get a parry trap, which I thought was pretty interesting. Off of his drive rush normals that are capable, I found his Crouching Medium Kick to be the most consistent for me. But I honestly haven't really used too much parry trap drive rush moves, so I'm not sure how useful it is. I've only included them in the video because they are possible. JP's normals felt a bit awkward for me to utilize for parry traps, but Crouching Light Kick, Crouching Medium Kick, Forward Medium Kick, and Standing Heavy Punch were my favorites. His only eligible special is the Spike, and it can work technically, but not sure how useful it is. For the Drive Rush moves, they are similarly awkward as his normals, and his Drive Rush Medium Punch serves better as a space trap unless you're going against Zangief. JP was probably the most awkward character for me to get the parry trap timing right, but I think with training you can find some of his moves that work for you. Other than crouching medium punch, all of Juri's normals felt good to me. Her target combo works against Zangief, but I feel like it might be better as a space trap against other characters. Both her eligible specials and drive rush normals worked fine for me. I don't really have many notes other than that. She can definitely parry trap. The quote-unquote worst Shoto felt pretty intuitive with all of his Parry Trap eligible normals, with none of them feeling particularly difficult to utilize. His Jinrai-based specials also worked quite well, so I think that can be viable if people are trying to interrupt or wait for their turn after the end of your Jinrai. His run overhead was a bit awkward for me to time, and his OD Fireball is more of a space trap against 4-frame moves. With Ken's Drive Rush normals, they also worked very well for me. Overall, I think Parry Traps could be a good layer to add to your Ken mix. Kim's Standing Light Punch, Crouching Light Kick, and Crouching Heavy Punch were the most natural Parry Trap normals for me, and the others were usable. Standing Medium Punch is better for a space trap, and her run overheads worked pretty well also. Kim doesn't have a lot of play with Parry Traps outside of her normals, but I think adding the Parry Trap possibility after the overhead to the mix and a couple normals can be useful to add to her overall game plan. Lily's normals worked well for me, except for standing medium kick, crouching heavy punch, and forward heavy punch. Those were a bit awkward to time, but that's probably user error. Of her drive rush normals, only crouching medium kick worked, but I believe that one and standing heavy kick can be better as a space trap. Her drive rush heavy punch was also very awkward for me to time. Overall, I don't think Lily has too much reliable play with parry traps, but if you can find some success with her eligible normals and the space traps that I've shown, it could be a nice layer in your Lily game plan. Except for standing medium kick, which is a better space trap, and forward heavy punch, which was awkward for me to time, the rest of Luke's parry trap eligible normals felt pretty natural to use. And of his specials, medium knuckle is more of a space trap, though I did enjoy his fireball more than the rest of the cast as a parry trap option. His drive rush normals worked well enough, with crouching light kick and standing heavy punch being my preferred options. And while back heavy kick worked, I think it could be better as a space trap or to throw off their timing for drive rush checks. I think parry traps definitely have a space in Luke's arsenal. Bison's eligible normals felt quite good to me, except for his standing medium kick, which is more of a space trap. His target combos can work, but the timing was a bit weird for me. You can use the target combo low as a frame trap, but they can mash through it if you go for the overhead instead, so I'd not rely on this as much for your parry traps. OD Crusher can be a good parry trap tool, and while the OD Backfist with the Psycho Mine can work as well, it was really hard for me to get the timing of it. Bison is also one of the many with a drive rush crouch medium kick, and while it wasn't as intuitive as the others, I think it can work fine as well with some training. Overall, I think parry traps can be a great tool for Bison to plant his mine and put the pressure on his opponent. Manon's standing light kick was awkward for me to time, and crouching medium kick is a better space trap, but the rest of her eligible normals felt quite good, with standing light punch, crouching medium punch, and standing heavy punch being my favorites. Her only special worked fine as well, though unfortunately her drive rush normals felt really unintuitive to me, with drive rush standing medium kick being the least awkward. Overall, I think Manon's normals can be a quite good addition to her game and medal gaining potential if you utilize them in a balanced way. Marisa has a ton of normals that are a bit minus, so there's a lot of opportunity for parry traps with her. And from my little bit of testing, it also seems that if the move is -1, you can also utilize her stance move to respond to their 4-frame attacks, unless it's against Zangief, since his is a low. Of her normals, it'll be easier just to mention back heavy punch and forwards heavy kick as the most unintuitive ones for me to utilize. Of her specials, they all worked, though OD Gladius would be better as a space trap in my opinion. Her only eligible drive rush move was not that good for me, so I don't suggest it. I think there's a lot of potential for Marisa to utilize parry traps or her stance traps with -1 moves. If you combine that with her mad damage, I think it could be a good addition to any kind of game plan. Also, if you are Marisa main, let me know if I'm actually getting this right with her stance trap. Is that a thing? Rashid's eligible normals felt super intuitive for me, with none feeling better or worse. Of his specials, Light Mixer was okay, but would need some work to understand the timing. Heavy Cyclone and OD Whirlwind were not that comfortable for me. For his drive rush normals, Standing Heavy Kick and Crouching Heavy Punch seemed better as space traps. But his drive rush crouching medium kick was alright. Rashid has some of the nicest feeling normals to use for parry traps, so definitely play with these moves if you want to add another layer to your Rashid. Ryo doesn't have a lot of parry trap options, but they all felt pretty consistent for me. I liked his Standing Light Punch, Standing Medium Punch, and Standing Heavy Punch the most. For his specials, I think Light Hashogeki should definitely be utilized, though his only other specials would work better as a space trap. For his Drive Rush normals, Crouching Medium Kick worked nicely, and Crouching Heavy Punch is just fine. Zangief's crouching light kick, standing medium punch, and standing heavy punch were my favorite parry trap options of his possible normals, and only down medium kick felt a bit awkward to me. Zangief has no specials or drive rush routes to parry trap, so I'd say just find a couple of his normals that resonate with you, lab them out, and add them into your mix. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Parry Trap. I'll be continuing to make interesting Street Fighter 6 tech videos, JMA-specific Street Fighter videos, in addition to covering other video games that interest me on this channel. If that's something that you'd like to see, I would love a like on this video and a subscribe to my channel as a show of support in this new endeavor of mine. I also have a parkour YouTube channel that has videos throughout my 20+ years of parkour training, so if that's something that's interesting to you, I'll put the link for that channel in the description below. Thanks for making it this far, and I'll see you in the next one.